everyone, Naina here, welcoming y'all on behalf of our channel, a parent and a child.
And Prasanna here. Today, we are going to be delving into a topic that is usually a very difficult one for all of us. Dealing with the not so kind and the not so easy people. There are very colorful ways to describe them, but for the purpose of this video, let us address them as difficult people. These are people that we bump into every day, sometimes at our apartment complexes, at our workplace, and also on the street and elsewhere.
Absolutely, you can hear them from a mile away, always complaining about others, foul-mouthed. A typical response to your hello or a good morning would be about the things that are not always right. It could be your neighbor, a relative, or someone in your building who is always finding out for things which are not correct, complaining about others, picking up a fight. We have all gone through this. They are always trying to test your patience.
Now let's explore some strategies on how to deal with these tricky situations and not let these ruin your day.
Exactly. It's about fostering better connections and making our interactions more positive. So let's dive into it. We encounter difficult people almost everywhere, and the first step is recognizing the challenges these interactions bring about.
From the person who's always finding faults in everything you do to those that enjoy pushing your buttons, it is important to identify these challenging souls early.
As we mentioned earlier, they are usually not the quiet ones. You can hear them from a mile away. They have their opinion on almost everything and almost on everyone. But there are some exceptional cases who are the quiet ones and who are looking for a spotlight. The moment they get the spotlight, they show their true colors.
Being rude comes naturally to them. Their dictionary doesn't include words like appreciation and acknowledgement. Even a job well done would only extract something like, but you know what? That kind of a response. These are the characters I'm talking of.
Another sure way to spot them is how they treat the less privileged ones. The helper staff at their home, like the maids. Also, the people serving them, like the waiters at the restaurant, or the Uber drivers or the local shopkeepers.
To be fair, most of us spot these red flags very early, but tend to overlook them. It's often because they're a close friend, a neighbor, or someone who you benefit from. But if you're doing so, you can do it at your own risk, because it's only a matter of time before they turn on you and you are at the receiving end.
Now that we know the challenges, let's equip ourselves with more strategies to handle these encounters more effectively.
Our task here is not to change them. That would be one hell of a task. Instead, it's about how we respond and react to their antics.
When faced with someone difficult, the first strategy is to maintain composure. That is, don't let their negativity spoil your mood or your day.
Now this is easier said than done, especially when you're witness to a verbal diarrhea that is completely disproportional to the supposed crime that was committed. More often than not, you get dragged into this conversation as well.
And as they say, never wrestle with a pig. You get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. So take deep breaths, shift your gaze away, And better still, keep an expressionless face or maintain still.
Do remember, these characters thrive on your reaction or feedback. The moment you deprive them of these, it's like cutting off their oxygen supply. Setting boundaries is crucial. Let's talk about how to communicate your boundaries without escalating the situation.
Set your own personal boundaries. You don't need to give a response or engage in a conversation on every attempt set to provoke you. This can be quite tricky as your adversary is looking out for the same to provoke you or make you fight.
Like with most bullies in life, they fear the wrath of a confident and a firm adversary. If ever there is a situation where you're provoked into conversing with these bullies, it's important that you make your message loud and clear. For example, as opposed to saying, "Let's not get there," you'd be better off saying, "I want you to stay away from my partner or child," or whatever was the topic that triggered your response in the first place.
Be clear, specific, firm in your tone, body language, and messaging. Avoid using words like "I warn you," "dare you." Direct and firm messaging will just serve you fine. Sometimes, where the other person is coming from can make a world of difference. So let's explore the power of empathy.
There is no joy in being a pest. Even pests realize that. It is important for us to then understand what triggers such a response and such behavior from these people. It can make a whole lot easier to deal with them.
At one of our previous apartment complexes, we dealt with a young individual who was extremely abusive and aggressive. This created fights among the neighbors and a constant fear of encountering this person. But it was much later that we found that he was under treatment for a mental ailment. While this didn't excuse them from their behavior, but it could have eased our anxiety had we known this situation before.
Similarly, at work, I remember a senior executive being very rude to their staff at work for years. Later, we realized their painful situation as a divorcee and a caregiver to their parents who were bedridden. This, of course, doesn't excuse the executive from the bad behavior they had put up with, but later on we did help convince them to seek professional help.
Having empathy makes a big difference. Don't let the distinction between you and the person you confront fade away.
Not every battle is worth fighting for. It is important to choose your battles wisely and conserve your energy for what truly matters.
As mentioned earlier, set clear boundaries. Fight for what really matters, but within the boundaries. But for the rest, it's better to let it go.
Ignorance is bliss. If you can't deal with them, ignore them. They're certainly not worth your time and attention.
Interestingly, in most cases, the person in question misses the attention and the spotlight and may try to mend fences with you. This gives you the choice to decide the level of engagement on your terms.
However, this should be the exception and not the norm. As we know, a zebra cannot change its stripes, so proceed with caution.
Wrapping up our discussion on dealing with difficult people, remember, it's not about becoming a doormat, but about navigating these encounters with grace and resilience.
If you found these strategies useful, make sure to give us a like, share and subscribe. And yes, of course, remember to forward this video to your friends and acquaintances who might need this.
Until next time, stay positive and navigate life's challenges with a smile.